What I tell most people when they start cover crops is start small. Find a field that you are close by that you can watch. There is some management that you got to use with cover crops. You got to be out there and make sure you don't let them get too big. I'm on the Soil Conservation Board in Boone County, and we've had several different farmers try different ways of doing it, and everybody that's tried it, even though it's different ways, from anywhere from using a fertilizer buggy and working it in to a drill to an airplane, it seems like cover crops are easy to establish as long as you get a little rain. So we've had good luck with that. There's plenty of different things you can do. You can do it in the fall, you can do it in the spring. If you got an oat crop that you take off in the middle of summer, you can go out and plant something on. Anything you can do to keep that soil covered is the main thing that we like to see. And any time you got something growing there, you're putting the sunlight and all that is doing something with your soil, and you're putting energy into the ground.
Our learning curve started with start simple. Don't try to do the whole farm or a lot of, right away. Do it out there where people can see it, so you have to make sure you manage it, and don't just let it go and say, well, it didn't work. But no, start simple.
I think everybody looks at it initially, and we have incentive programs, which I think are good because it's a little like crop insurance. It lessens the initial risk because we're in an unknown area. So now we're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to ask somebody to do something they've never done before. So there's a security level there if there's a little incentive. But I think it's important for them to come to someone's house that they believe, and to tell them that. It's like the rye is hard to kill. The co-op, the guys sit around the coffee shop and say it's hard to kill. It's not. And so anytime people change, if you want to think back a few years, you should have heard them talking about Roundup corn. That stuff will never work. That's never going to yield. This isn't going to work. Well, now look what they do. So I think it's important for them to hear from somebody that's actually done it and find out that, yes, this is true. No, this isn't true. And just shut it down. The best way is to get the information out there and get it going through the coffee shops, because it travels faster at the co-op than it does out here. You can't talk to everybody. So you got to get the information in the right people's hands and let them spread it. You know who to tell the joke to make sure everybody hears it. So that's the secret.
I think there's a lot of information out there now that is supporting the use of cover crops. I think it's finally catching on, and I've got one neighbor up the road that did tillage radishes in where he chopped silage. I couldn't figure out what it was right away. And so I stopped and looked. Yeah, pretty good sized.
I guess with cover crops, even if you're the only person in your area doing cover crops, it's okay to think outside the box and try something different. Just because everybody else isn't doing it doesn't mean it's not working. It's just might be a little more time consuming, but the benefits that you see in the soil way outweigh the time that you're putting in on it.
We like to drill it. We use a 750 John Deere drill. That is a no-till drill. That works the best. We're looking at, with our high clearance sprayer though, possibly putting on and I don't want to mention necessarily brand names, but something like a Gandy air seeder. And then we can get out, especially this year, because we're really thinking that the crop's going to be late. We know it's going to be late, and it's going to be hard to get on these fields after harvest and try to get them to germinate. So we're gonna look at that. Aerial seeding is what we've learned about aerial seeding is make sure you get the guy lined up and make sure he knows what he's doing. It's not like spraying herbicides or fungicides. It's a different thing, and they have to be good at it.
I think they don't really know how it can work out of an airplane, and basically it's just a bunch of fins in there like the back of your combine chopper he has a little metering wheel in there. He can haul, I think he can haul 2,000 pounds in there, and it just meters it down, and when it hits that fan it just sucks out the back and spreads out, and as you can tell by what we've seen here, it's a very even spread, and with GPS he's pretty accurate.
Another thing that an aerial applicator likes to do is get a bunch of acres so that he can get a nice job in one site. Have everything ready, be ready for him, because his time is money, and so that's another thing I've heard.
I've known Ralph to actually seed 2 different fields at the same time, pick up off one and go do another one, and just keep making a zigzag that way. So it works pretty well. That's very important for him if he can line up more guys in one area.
Yep, first year trying to fly it on. Well, I'm just curious to see what it's going to do. I don't know if Some guys have said they get a good stand with just a bushel of rye or a bushel of oats to the acre. Some of the requirements say you should put a bushel and a half to 2 bushel of each. So we'll have to talk to the pilots and see how much they can get on and go from there. I've been using a no-till drill too. So yeah, the seed soil contact is right there, and it doesn't take very long for it to come up. It's done very well. I can't complain. I have an equip, or not equip, but a CSP contract to put down cover crops. So I do, right now I've been doing 34 acres every year with that. I think the biggest difference is going to be the application. I don't think cost-wise per acre is going to be any different, other than I won't be using my own equipment. I think that it'll go faster. I mean, they'll be able to cover lots of acres in a day. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see. I'd like to see green underneath the soybeans when I'm harvesting would be cool. And green in the corn stalks when I'm done out here.
There's always going to be a few challenges. It's something new. And whenever we try something new, we're going to have a learning curve. We're trying to use shorter season corn and soybeans so we can make sure we get it in the fall. We're looking at different ways of applying those covers in the fall if we can't get them on at a timely, because we need to have those on 6 weeks before we get a frost. Give them a chance for some growth. So we're looking at a lot of that. So those are things. Killing it in the spring is another thing that this spring was a challenge. We didn't have any warm weather. We chemically kill our covers, and we just didn't have that that time frame in there when the covers were growing great. They loved that early, cool, wet weather, but we just couldn't get a time frame in there to really get them killed. So they got a little bigger than we wanted this spring. So yeah, you gotta be ready to hit those when in a timely manner.
The management's pretty simple. You come out and spray it in the spring. Actually, we're going to put oats into soybeans this year, so that'll winter kill, and then the rye will go in with the corn stalks, so that we'll kill it with a burn down in the spring, and then plant beans into it. It's not much different than what you would usually do, except it's going to take a little more time in the fall to get things done.
I've heard of people even having to, because of timing, they couldn't kill it sprayed until the day they planted. And if that's what you got to do, you got to do. But ideally, I believe it's a week to 14 to 2 weeks or so is the ideal time to try and kill it and let it die down.
So there's some management things, but it's nothing you can't handle. It really isn't. It's the benefits outweigh the other things that we think we have to worry about.